I'll be happy to know.
Nepal TV station uses lantern to highlight power cuts. One of the Nepal's top television networks has begun broadcasting its nightly news bulletin in semi-darkness to highlight the effects of massive power cuts. Since the beginning of February, Kantipur television has used only kerosene paraffin lantern to light its 30-minute-long 7 p.m. news bulletin. The head of Kantipur News said the aim was to put pressure on the government to tackle the problem. Nepal is currently suffering about 12 hours of power cuts a day. We want the government to produce more electricity as soon as possible, Kantipur News head Tirtha Koirala said. So far, we have been getting a very positive response from the audience, but nothing yet from the government. Despite having massive hydropower potential, Nepal produces less than half its electricity needs. A 10-year civil conflict between Maoist rebels and state, which ended in 2006, has meant that there has been little investment in Nepal's power sector. On top of this, the country's power supply was badly affected after the destruction of electricity transmission lines during the Kosi River floods in 2008. This means that load shedding, when the authorities shut down the power to a particular area in order to conserve electricity, has become a factor of daily life. The problem is particularly acute in winter, when the lack of rainfall and low water levels in the rivers mean that existing hydroelectric plants are not operating at full capacity. The state-owned Nepal Electricity Authority has said the country can expect at least 14 hours of power cuts a day in the next few weeks. We are suffering tremendously because of load shedding, Mr. Koirala said. About 4 lakh students are currently trying to study for their school leaving certificate, and they don't have any light in the evening. Also, small and medium enterprises who can't afford a generator or an inverter aren't able to operate. Mr. Koirala said the television news bulletin would continue to be broadcasted in darkness until the government responded. Karachi police swoop on suspected target killers. Police in Pakistan's southern port city of Karachi have arrested 3 men accused of carrying out targeted political killings. 2 of the men are accused of shooting 13 people to death during recent politically motivated attacks. The 3rd man is accused of providing arms and ammunition for such attacks in the city. At least 775 people died in political and sectarian shootings and bombings in Karachi in 2010, rights groups say. 2 of the men have directly participated in the killings, Police Superintendent Raja Umar Khattab told reporters. Pakistan MP drops effort to repeal blasphemy laws. A Pakistani politician has dropped her attempt to amend the country's controversial blasphemy laws, accusing her party of appeasing extremists. Pakistan's People Party MP Shari Rahman made her decision after the government ruled out changing the law. Correspondent says Ms. Rahman is one of the only few politicians prepared to speak out on the blasphemy law. They say there has been a climate of fear since the murder of Punjab Governor Salman Taseer, who opposed it. Mr. Taseer was killed in January by one of his bodyguards, who later admitted murdering the governor because he had spoken out against the blasphemy law. Ex-Telecoms Minister Raja appears in court. Former Indian Telecoms Minister A. Raja has been remanded in custody, facing charges of involvement in one of the country's biggest corruption scandals. Mr. Raja and 2 officials were arrested on Wednesday and are to be held for 5 days, Delhi court ordered. All 3 are alleged to have undersold mobile phone licenses, costing the country billions of dollars in lost revenue. All 3 men deny wrongdoing. The scandal has caused outrage and damaged the government's reputation. Mr. Raja belongs to the DMK party, which is an ally of the ruling Congress party. BlackBerry faces Indian showdown after missing deadline. Indian BlackBerry users could face a ban after the gadget's maker failed to meet a government deadline to grant access to all its services. Officials in Delhi say they need to read encrypted BlackBerry messages to help guard against terrorist attacks. They have been locked in negotiations with Research in Motion, which makes a popular device since last summer. Pakistan court extends custody of U.S. man Raymond Davis. A Pakistani court has extended the detention of U.S. citizen arrested for killing two men in Lahore last week by another 8 days. Raymond Davis was produced in Lahore High Court amid tight security. On Tuesday, the court barred officials from freeing Mr. Davis and ordered them to place his name on the exit control list to stop him leaving Pakistan. The U.S. Embassy has called for Mr. Davis to be freed, saying he has diplomatic status and is immune from prosecution. 4 arrested after Bangladeshi girl lashed to death. 4 people, including a Muslim cleric, have been arrested in Bangladesh in connection with the death of a 14-year-old girl who was publicly lashed. The teenager was accused of having an affair with a married man, police say, and the punishment was given under Islamic Shariat law. Hannah Begum's family members said a village court considering of elders and clerics passed this sentence. She was alleged to have had an affair with her cousin and received 80 lashes. We'll move on to the business world. World food prices fresh high, says FAO. World food prices rose to a record high in January, according to the UN's Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO. The FAO Food Price Index, which measures the wholesale price index of basic foods within a basket, averaged 231 points last month, its highest level since records began in 1990. The individual group components of the index, apart from meat, all registered rises in January. The cereal price index averaged 245 points in January, reflecting rises in the price of wheat and grain. This was driven higher by flooding in Australia, which is a major wheat exporter. Rice prices fell slightly as the data coincided with harvests in many countries. Welcome to the world of science. New mosquito type raises concern. Scientists have identified a new type of mosquito. It's a subgroup of Anopheles gampi, the insect species responsible for most of the malaria transmission in Africa. Researchers tell Science magazine that this new mosquito appears to be very susceptible to the parasite that causes disease, which raises concern. The type may have evaded classification until now because it rests away from human dwellings, where most scientific collections tend to be made. Dr. Michel Reil from the Pasteur Institute in Paris, France, and colleagues made their discovery in Burkina Faso, where they gathered mosquitoes from ponds and puddles near a village over a period of 4 years. The team grew generations of unique subtype in lab to assess their susceptibility to malaria parasite, and this revealed them to be especially vulnerable, more than indoor resting insect types. And in sports, Fernando Torres was worth £70 million, says Rafael Benitez. Former Liverpool boss Rafael Benitez has revealed a £70 million deal for Fernando Torres was mooted last year, and that he would like to manage the club once again. Striker Torres joined Chelsea on Monday for a British record fee of about £50 million, but he had been valued even higher. I think last year we were talking about £70 million, Benitez said in an interview for the BBC's Football Focus. The 50-year-old Spaniard also said he would be keen to manage the Anfield club again at some stage in future. Torres moved to Chelsea on transfer deadline day, although the Blues had reportedly made a bid in May 2010. Despite a knee injury at the end of the last season, he featured a Spain's World Cup winning campaign. And before we close today's bulletin of news analysis, let's have a recap of the main points. And there we end today's bulletin of news analysis. Be with us in the coming weeks too. Thank you.